The world of mental health has gained incredible momentum over the last number of years, and some of it good, some of it not so good. But one of the not so good things about the world of mental health is the incredibly powerful surge in anxiety in our country and this world. There are more and more people struggling with anxiety now than I've ever seen in my 45 years as a counselor. And I want to talk about three of the most common ways that we start to take anxiety into our lives as an identity. This is just who I am. There really isn't much to do about it. I'd say about 80% of people that come to me to do one-on-one work will say, David, I've like this my whole life, don't know how to do it. There's nothing. I've taken medications, nothing works. So let's talk about the three main causes of anxiety, because if we can look logically at how anxiety is created, then we can start to dismantle it and start to move into a more calmer existence. But here's a word of caution. If there's any miracle cure, miracle drug, miracle whatever, it's probably not reality. If there's a miracle book, I can give you 1,000 tips on how to handle anxiety. But I'd much rather get to know how it started, how often it affects you, how long are the symptoms of it, in order to give you the right tools, the right tips, because there's so many things that work for some people and not others. Number one, how does it start? Number one, in the environment that you were raised. 0 to 18 is one of the greatest times that anxiety can become part of our identity, meaning we walk out at 18 years of age. Let's say we move from the house and we're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and we've had anxiety issues our whole life that maybe we've masked with food or alcohol or TV or social media or something like that. But it's there and it's from the environment. And how does that happen? Well, we'll have a mom that's really anxious or a perfectionist, or a dad that's very anxious or a perfectionist, and mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, it doesn't matter. But these are our main role models growing up. So if we see them reacting to everything with anxiety, oh my God, I don't know what we're going to do about the bills. Oh my God, I don't know what we're going to do about this. Oh my, if it's a constant on a daily or every other day basis that they're reacting from an anxious point of view, then it's very natural for children in the household to accept that natural point of view. And I'll tell you something, one of the greatest creators of anxiety is perfectionism. If you were raised in a home that expected you to always get A's, or expected you to be the star cheerleader, player, band member, whatever it might be, there's so much pressure it can create anxiety. Now, people look at perfectionism, most people, they look at it and they value it. I do not at all. I was a perfectionist for years, and all it did was drive me deeper into anxiety and addiction. And I let it go, but it took time, and I can help you if you need to get there. That's the number one way that anxiety becomes part of our life. 0 to 18, we're raised in it. It feels normal. It feels natural, even though it doesn't serve us and it makes our life hell on earth, right? Number two would be an event that creates anxiety. Maybe you got up for your first time speaking and it didn't go well at all, and now you're petrified. Every time you think of speaking, you have anxiety. My dad was an accountant, and a couple times a year he had to speak to just a small group of people at Syracuse University, his boss and a couple other people, and he would vomit. If it was 3 times a year, he'd have a half an hour meeting just to update them with what's going on with the accounting department. And he would get so anxious. He was petrified of public speaking, even in front of just 3 or 4 people, that he would be in the restroom before the presentation. That's full blown anxiety, right? And it had an event. He had once done this at a previous job and had been ridiculed. Even though he was in the right, he was ridiculed, and he carried that with him until he was in his 70s. And then he shattered his anxiety of speaking in public in his 70s by becoming an altar boy of all things. And from then on, you couldn't shut him up. It was amazing. It was crazy, right? So we can have a one-time event. We can get pushed into a pool unexpectedly and have anxiety about water for the rest of our lives. There's all kinds of singular events that if we don't handle emotionally fairly quickly, they can turn into a lifetime of an identity that I'm an anxious person. And the third way that anxiety is created is something called general anxiety disorder. And this is a toughie, because what we're saying with generalized anxiety disorder, we can't see anything from 0 to 18. We can't see any kind of a one-time event that created anxiety. And yet you're anxious on a regular basis. Maybe your world is filled with overthinking, rumination. Anxiety is usually about the future. afraid of something that's going to happen. Anxiety can come up from the past, thinking of an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-husband, ex-wife, whatever it might be, and we're thinking about getting into a new relationship, and then we flip back to all the chaos and drama in the last one, and we can become super anxious. We can go out on dates and not be ourselves at all, right? And that's that. Now that would be specific to the fact that you had a previous experience that was negative in the world of relationships. But that generalized anxiety disorder, let's say at 18 you had that relationship issue and it's over with, and you're 60 now, but you're still anxious. So there's something else going on, right? We can't say it's what happened at 18. We can say it started it. But the real decision was that we didn't do anything about it. And now, you don't even have to watch the news. You don't have to read the social media. Most people are anxiety ridden because of the negative energy in this world, in our country, with politics, with the wars, with everything else. Oh my God, anxiety is running through the veins of most people. Now, this would be called generalized anxiety disorder, unless you're addicted to the news, television, and social media. And then we'd say, no, the anxiety is created by your addiction to news, social media, etc. But if you don't watch TV and you don't even participate in any negativity on social media, you can still pick up anxiety because of the energy of the world. Listen, we have been working with this forever. I struggled with anxiety for probably 25, 30 years, which is why I drank when I was an addict from 12 to 42 or whatever it was. I was filled with anxiety. Oh my God. And I used alcohol as a way to minimize it. Other people use food. Other people use distractions of movies, or, we can do so many different things to try to run away from anxiety. But guess what? Until we learn the tools to sit and face it and dismantle it, it's going to be there. Listen, at talkdavid.com, our website, we have 5 free books. They could very well help you on the pathway. And if you're really ready to eliminate anxiety by 80% even, let's work together. Go to talkdavid.com. Everything is 100% guaranteed, and I'm committed to your success. 50%, I believe, or more of our country is struggling deeply with anxiety. The great news, we can put an end to it. Listen, this is the Mental Cleanse with David Essel. When you cleanse your mind, in this case of anxiety, you cleanse your life. Have a beautiful day.